prep class, yes. yes. If you're planning, if you're thinking about an AT Thru-Hike, you owe it to yourself to take this class so you're better prepared. You know, it's a no-brainer.
Well, hey guys, we are coming to you from our Airstream today. Pretty excited. We just got back from our last Appalachian Trail prep class hosted at Mountain Crossings, and I thought I'd give you a little bit of a review on how that class went, what we saw everybody have in common, which was kind of eye-opening, especially for the Thru-Hiker community, because we see this a lot in our weekend backpacking class that we teach. So wanted to give you guys a review on that and let you know exactly how that went. And yeah, it went pretty cool. Okay, so the one thing that we see the most in when people are planning a thru-hike or when people are planning a weekend trip, it's almost the exact same thing. And I really want to talk about this today because it's one of the things that I don't see a lot of YouTubers talk about. I don't see a lot of it being discussed in trail forums. And so I want to talk to you about this very subject. And that is fear. We do a podcast called Trust the Trail. And the reason why we named it is because we really do trust the trail. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that means and why so many people bring up fear in the backcountry. Because there's really nothing to be afraid about. But I'm going to kind of dig deep into that, and I want you to chime in and see if you agree with me or don't agree with me on this, because it was kind of an eye-opening experience this weekend with our prep class. So one thing we see all the time is people that either take our weekend backpacking class, or we saw this on the prep class, is that people generally seem to be a little fearful when it comes to backpacking in the wilderness. So let's break that down a little bit and see what that means, okay? So how many of you have ever planned a vacation? Whether you got 2 weeks off of work, or you just wanted to take the family out somewhere, or you just wanted to go someplace on an adventure, right? Makes no difference. But you had to plan a little vacation. So what did you do? You had to get, if you were flying, you had to get your plane tickets. If you were traveling, you had to route your destination in your car. Then you had to figure out what you're going to do when you got there. And then you had to plan your lodging. And so there was a whole list of things that you kind of had to go through and plan for a simple vacation. But now let's talk about trust and how many people you had to trust in that given vacation time, right? So let's say you're going to fly somewhere, okay? You get your tickets from your airlines. So there's a whole slew of things that you have to trust, right? You trust every single person on that plane, they have good intentions. You have to trust the pilot that they're going to do their due diligence in flying at 35,000 feet and landing a jet engine plane. You have to trust all the people that make the airport and airlines work. Okay, now, of course, sometimes they don't work, but for the most part, travel in a plane is still one of the safest things to do. But look at the blind trust that you have. You know, you don't interview the pilot. You don't ask him, well, you know, Mr. Pilot, what gear are you using to fly this plane? You know, you don't do that. So you just blindly trust that that pilot knows what they're doing. You have to make lodging reservations. You trust that the person taking a reservation is actually going to make the reservation and keep the reservation. You have to trust, if you're driving someplace, you're going to drive maybe a few hundred miles, maybe even longer than that, and you have to trust every single person that drives next to you in your car along the expressway going 75 miles per hour. Think about that. Think about your everyday life and how many people you have to trust to just get through your day safely. Everybody on the road, everybody that travels, everybody that you interact with on a daily basis. You know, when you're driving on the expressway, you don't know the person next to you driving, right? So we trust so many people in our everyday lives, especially when we're planning a 2-week simple vacation. But yet when it comes to, I'm going to go backpacking this weekend, people are like, ah! You know, they're deathly afraid of the wilderness. You know, like, well, what if this happens? Or what, you know, what? You know, and on a through hike, one of the common themes that we saw when we were teaching this class was fear. Fear of the unknown. What if I break a leg? What if this happens? What if I get cold? What if it rains? What if my gear doesn't work? What if I, what if? And it was a general-based fear that people have for some reason when they go out into the wilderness. Well, I'm going to tell you where that fear comes from, and I want us to have a talk about that. I want us to have a discussion about that. Okay, so fear, right? False evidence appearing real, which is really the basics of fear. A lot of times it's not real. It's in our head, and we try to make it real. But the reality of backpacking and going out into the wilderness is this. You're just not in control. Now, if you equate that with you're really not in control in your life, there's a very similar issue. Yeah, so let's take our vacation scenario, right? Well, you're the one who's making the reservations. You're the one that's getting on the plane. You're the one that is driving to the airport or driving to your destination. You know, you feel like you're in somewhat control, but are you really? I mean, have you ever had a flight delay? Have you ever had a flight cancel? Have you ever been stuck at the airport? You're really not in control of anything. You know, you've ever, had a car break down while you're on a vacation? You ever get to the hotel and they lost your reservation or they lost your luggage? The fact of the matter is that because you're making the plans, you feel like you're in somewhat control of your life. When you're out in the wilderness, Mother Nature is in control. You have not one thing to say about what she does or how she does it. That whole feeling of fearfulness really comes from lack of control. Okay? But that's really a lie. Fear is just a lie. I trust the wilderness and trust the trail more than I trust driving on 85 or 75 here in Atlanta. I mean, I'd rather be on the trail than driving in traffic with a bunch of people I don't know. And I can't even tell you how many times I get cut off on the expressway. So, really, it's a lot of fear that because we're not in control in the wilderness, that bad things are going to happen, in which it's just not true. So let me give you an example. On one of our hikers that took our AT Prep class was so afraid that, well, what if I break my leg? Well, what if you get a flat tire on the expressway? When we say trust the trail, that means trusting everything that the trail represents, trusting your trail community. That's all the other hikers and backpackers that are going to be hiking the Appalachian Trail with you, or your Thru-Hike, or any trail on that given weekend. Trust your community. Trust the people that take care of the trail. Trust, your hiking community is part of the trail system, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get out of this video, is that people generally want to help you. If you get a flat tire on the expressway, you know, and let's say you don't have cell service, well, someone normally comes out, do you need help? You know, I've had, you know, 2 or 3 flat tires on a forest road deep into the wilderness before, and was able to get a ride into town so I could buy a spare tire. So, you know, you have to trust your trail community that they want you to be successful, and they don't want to see you lying on the ground hurt. They don't want to see you, you know, not having a good time on the trail. So trust the trail community, trust the rangers, trust the parks, trust the, you know, the people that take care of the trail. You know, that's why it's always good to have an emergency number with you all the time and a contact information with you, so if something does happen, somebody else can at least make a phone call for you. You know, my whole thing in here is that fear generally keeps you from doing what you want to do. And so, you know, embrace the trail, trust the trail, and don't be so obsessed about, well, what if something bad happens? Focus on what all the good things are going to happen. If you focus on the negative, you know, it'll be a lot harder for yourself. And remember, you're trying to, you know, spend 4 or 5 months out on the trail to fulfill your dream. There's no room for fear. Caution maybe, but no fear. So that's really that was the one characteristic that we saw in our Appalachian Trail prep class, was just the you know, some of the fear that clouds people's judgment. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why people pack so much when they first start out on a through hike. It's because that fear base. I'm not in control. What if? What if? What if? What if? What if? And they just pack too much. So the Appalachian Trail prep class went awesome. We had a great time. We met some individuals that are backpacking this year for just a beautiful reason, and it's just because they love the trail and they love nature. We had 2 gentlemen that took the class that they lost a loved one this last year, and so they're hiking the trail to heal. The class, we had about 13 people take the class. We had 4 classes. Each class was different. We saw a lot of people wanting to hike early this year in February, so we made sure that they had, you know, they had a little bit warmer gear. Our average trail weight for our AT Prep class, average trail weight, that includes food. That does not include water, but it does include, we all packed with, we gave them 4 days worth of food to do their first 30 miles. The goal was when they got to mountain crossings, they could say, hey, thanks, I'm grabbing a cup of coffee, I'll see you later down the trail, and not do a pack shakedown. So that was the goal. Our average weight with 4 days of food were 22 pounds. So that's pretty good. So we got them backpacks, we got them gear, mountain crossings, did pack shakedowns. Each individual person got their own shakedown, and we went through the mental aspects of the class, and we had a great time. I cooked burgers for everybody, and we just watched some of the old VCR movies that Mountain Crossings has. So anyway, thank you so much, Mountain Crossings, for getting our through hikers ready to go for 2018. Super excited for everybody. Please, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe, please hit the like button, and make comments. We love your interaction. We want to hear about the whole control fear thing from you guys, and thank you so much for subscribing to us. Really appreciate it. We'll see you on the trail. Bye.